Hi, everyone. Hey, such an amazing community you have here. It's my first time, and it's unbelievable, beautiful, and tasty as well. I didn't expect it, and this hotel is really crazy. So I'm going to talk about web data superpowers, and I think it's very relevant if you stayed from the last talk, because one of the challenges was data. We don't have enough data. And it's true and untrue, because we do have a lot of data. The internet is the largest library that humans have ever created, right? There's everything on the open web. Everything that is behind, what is open web? Everything that is not behind closed doors, everything that can be scanned by a search engine, by Google, is basically open. You don't need to register, you don't need to accept the terms of use, and you can just walk in and see everything. And that's what we do. We go into the public web, and then we see that web page, but it's unstructured, right? I just see the page, but I can't actually use it. And that's what I'm going to talk about, how we're going to structure the open web so it becomes a database so you can use and leverage for your needs. Exactly. So a bit about myself. In the past 5 years, I worked at Meta, used to call Facebook, and I was leading the research platform team. And the research platform team, which is in Tel Aviv, had few products, internal products, that the entire goal was to give those superpowers to Meta, right? They want to know what's out there, what's their competition like, how many apps. Facebook is an app, right? And it's controlled by Apple and Google. They are bound to the rules of the App Store and Google Play Store. And they are competing against any other app that takes their timeshare, right? If you don't use Facebook, you use some other app, and they try to understand this market. So all we did was use a lot of data to understand the market, to understand the competition. But that was just internal. 4 months ago, if it will work, yes, I joined Bright Data, which is doing that for everyone. We're democratizing data for you guys to leverage the open web to your advantage, and basically take any website that holds this data, but not as a data set that you can't use. And I'll give some examples from e-commerce that were just mentioned and how you can leverage them. Yes, McDonald's. So McDonald's Canada is one example. It's a client of Bright Data, and what they do, as you expect from a big company, is track their competitors. They want to track what Wendy's are doing, right? What sales, what bundles do they have? Did they change the price? And we provide it to them on a daily basis. Everywhere they know exactly online and offline what's going on based on data that is available freely on the web, and we go and scrape that daily and provide them this data daily. But we also provide the same capabilities to 15,000 customers, and it's a long tail of very different industries and verticals that have access to the same data, and I want you to know about it if you don't, because you need to leverage that data. And when I joined, I didn't understand how you can leverage data that is open on the web to your advantage, and I want to give a cool example that I ran into. Yankee Candles are candles that are being sold in the US, and the researcher from Stanford ran into this Twitter, to a tweet saying that people are buying candles, but that are scented candles, and they can't smell them. So she said maybe it's related to COVID. It was just the beginning of the pandemic. And she scraped I think Amazon, 25,000 reviews of scented candles. And surely enough, she saw the drop immediately when COVID started between people that are buying scented candles and people that are complaining that they don't smell anything, right? So it's a cute example to show how data on COVID at the time wasn't available. It was just the start of the pandemic. But you can start seeing proxy metrics that are moving much faster, and you can use them freely on the web and just try to be creative with data to solve your other idea, right? So a proxy metric like that can move much faster than the thing itself. Let's take, for example, I know that in the audience we have several breweries, right? Let's say that we have our own brewery, beer brewery, and we want to leverage web data to our advantage. What will we do? And sorry for my accent, I say Israeli after all. So let's say that we want to understand the market and where should we actually sell our beer, right? Just a cute example. In Google Maps, you must have seen it. You see here on the left, maybe I'm on your, do you see it now? There's this live, not too busy, right? So imagine that you can scrape this data and build a data set of all the restaurants and all the beer shops in the location that you are after and understand exactly when they are busy or not. And over time, you'll build this data set that will allow you to know which are the busiest places, who can be expecting to sell more because they have more traffic, they have much more audience going through, and it will be easy for you to go and tell them, okay, I want to work with you, I want to sell my beer here, and not sell it somewhere else where you don't know if they have foot traffic. This is available to everyone, but it's not structured. It's not a database, right? You can't access it. So with structured web data, you can do it and you have the data set and you can see exactly what you need when you need it. So this one is just one example. And of course, Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, the abundance of e-commerce data. We right now have 80% of all the products on Amazon on our data set available for you right now to access. And why would you need it? Because the data that you need for e-commerce changes on an hourly basis. Amazon is changing prices for products every hour. And they do it because they have scraped other e-commerce's website, and they all do it, all the big ones, all the big players are doing it for the other players. And they have this data set, and they know that in order to stay relevant, in order to be on top of the search result, imagine like Google shopping, right? If you search for something you want to be at the top, you'll be at the top if you have the right price. And to do that, you need to know what the other competitors' price is. But it's not easy. It's not easy because it's not available. It's not an API. And if you try to do it yourself, like go after this talk and go to Amazon and try to go and just look at data for 100, 200 products, they will stop you. They will say, oh, maybe you are a bot, maybe you're a machine, so I'll show CAPTCHA, and then eventually I'll block you, right? So we needed to come up with a way to bypass the blocking of the open, available public web, which is kind of crazy, but that's what all the big players are doing because they don't really want you to compete with them, right? They want to stay a walled garden. And that's true also for travel, hotels, flights. Everybody is guarding their free public data. So what we do is we use all the devices that you guys have, and you can participate in that. And we go through the real users' devices, through your IP addresses, basically, and go incognito and go to those web pages and access them and do it from many, many devices. It can be like 70 million IP addresses on a daily basis. So they change all the time, and we have a lot of technology behind it to also solve CAPTCHAs, to solve fingerprinting, and do all that is necessary in order to access this public information, build a data set to allow competition, to allow us to have better prices for everything. Regulation. So every market has regulation. Beer, I guess, has alcohol beverages control in I think this is in California, and it's really hard to track. It's not like the government will knock on your door and give you letters. This is the new thing, or imagine that you want to track all the companies in your market that are going through bankruptcy, Chapter 11. So with automation, you can go to those websites and set up your keywords and start seeing those data points flowing in to see your competitors, your vendors, supply chain, and regulation flow in as a database that you can start triggering actions upon that. And that's true for any business. Social media, yay. I think it's very obvious to say that a lot of market research and brand sentiment and share of voice can be found on tweets, on posts, and so on. But I think, so I won't expand on that. But what's not obvious is that the hidden power lies when you match that data. When you have the same person over Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok, you can see his 360 view on that person. Same goes 360 view on a company. If you have the data from Crunchbase and from Glassdoor and from Indeed Jobs, and you build this profile for a company, and again, before me, it was like, how can we build a credit score for a company or for a person? This is a way. Once you have a 360 view of a company or a person, you have a lot more available data to make that decision. You can see what they, do they post more jobs now? Is the company has more jobs or less jobs? And you can see also if it's an influencer that you want to work with. Maybe he looks great on Instagram, but overall, the influencers in your market, the ranking is much different when you look across Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and so on. So matching data is really important. But matching data is also very hard. I don't know if you tried, but just to find, let's say my partner here, Dot Lang, to find her on all the social platforms, it's not easy to do, right? And that's where big data transform into data as a service. There are companies like us and many others that are now giving you this data as a service. You come into a website, you say, okay, I want data on a company, and you look for the segment, and you just get the data that you need, fresh, meaning that we scanned it over and over, and you have the historical data, and you have the fresh data from yesterday. And you filter it and get only the data that you need when you need it, and pay also only for the data that you need. You don't need the whole, to scan the entire, I don't know, 600 million people profiles on Instagram in order to find the segment that you need. You just pay for what you need. But it's really hard to do, and this is why you have us, and you can actually access this data set right now. As you can see, you have plenty of a popular website to go and access. But that's not enough. That's only step one. Step one is, okay, I have the data, but I'm not looking for the data. I'm looking for answers, right? I have a question, I have a business need, and I want my answer. I don't want the data. That's a lot of work. I need to do matching, cleaning, and enrichment. And I think that that's the next step in evolution, where data as a service plus data enrichment marketplaces will come together. So imagine that you'll have a list of companies that you can plug into this data before or after. Imagine a pipeline. So you say, okay, I want to find all the coffees in Guatemala. Which website should I go and search and scan? This expert will give you that. And then we go and collect this data for you. Now it's a data set. Okay, but which one is the best? I want to read the reviews, but I don't know how to read Spanish. I need another service, and I need to run sentiment analysis on it, right? So there is another company, and you look it up, and you can plug it to this data, and at the end, maybe also plug the service that will give you the answer, right? Why can't I just post the business question that I have, and get the answer at the end, get the insight that I need? So that's the evolution, and I hope that next year, if I'll be here, hopefully, I'll share this, this new marketplace where I can show you the results. Data can be used also for good, right? All this data that is available can be used for e-commerce and travel and hotel and banking and investment, but it can also be put to good use, and that's why we have the Bright Initiative. And the Bright Initiative is currently working with 5,000 organizations, and if you are one of them or you want to become one, please reach out to me. This is really important to me and the company. We work with the top universities as well. So if you are in a university, reach out to me. And I'll give you some examples for the stuff that we do. When COVID started, it was very hard to find an appointment in a pharmacy. So we scraped 25,000 pharmacies in the States, built a data set. A person that cared about it built a website, and that's it. You could search for the next appointment available next to you in your pharmacy because the government didn't build it, so we did. Human trafficking is a huge thing. Imagine that a lot of sex ads are being published on the web, and then you go and see a website with basically human trafficking, and we go and scrape that data that are trying to block us with CAPTCHAs and make it hard for us to access, but we do, and we work with organizations that actually do something about it, take action, and go and hunt them down, basically. And I want to give you a cool example about stuff that you can do with LinkedIn data. We work with the UK government with a LinkedIn data set. So imagine that on your LinkedIn profile, you have what you studied and which year, and then your work resume, my accent. So basically, if you analyze this data, you can see if people are working in what they studied. And for the UK government, it means the future of education. Do we invest in the right type of studies? Do we have universities for what people are actually working in, right? So this is why I urge you to be creative with data and see it and imagine what is your question that you are trying to answer. It will be on the web because the web is the largest data set available. It just needs some structure. Thank you very much.